Okay, hey, Honor, are you ready to record?
Yeah, hold on. I just gotta get my croissants.
That's the most crinkly bag I've ever heard.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be eating my croissants, don't worry.
You're not doing that the whole episode.
No, I am. This is croissant time now.
Welcome to Podpodcastcast. Hello, and welcome to Podpodcastcast. It's a podcast where we review other podcasts. I'm Sam.
And I'm Honor.
That was beautiful, Honor. I feel like we should do a fully musical podcast someday.
Yeah.
Lovely. But someday when we are together, we're still apart.
Mm-hmm.
Listeners may notice that we are apart and that I am sick. I'm getting over a cold here. I'm through the worst of it, but I still sound terrible, but I'm all right. I'm not dying. And frankly, I'm green not just because I've been vomiting, but also because I'm jealous of Honor right now. Honor, you are in a very nice place. You're in Italy.
I'm in beautiful Italia, baby.
You're studying abroad in Italy, and it sounds wonderful.
It is. I'm currently sitting in like a beautiful outdoor sort of garden courtyard. There's greenery and fairy lights literally like on every side of me. And I have 2 pistachio croissants that were baked by students at the university I'm at. And I come to this cafe every day and I get pastries and sandwiches and it's lovely. And you're stuck in America.
I'm stuck in my disease-riddled home, and I've been trapped in the studio for well over a year now. You've never let me out.
No.
You're getting to travel the world. You're getting to see wonderful fountains and and pasta. I don't know what they have in Italy, man.
Yep.
I know
Pasta.
about Romans. They got you see trebuchets. Did the Romans have trebuchets?
No.
Do you know that? Okay, hold on. If there's one of us between the two of us that's going to know the answer to that.
Uh-huh.
You've not seen any. You don't know if they had them or not.
No, I don't believe Romans used trebuchets.
I'm get in the comments.
Get in the comments. They could have, but I don't think that was what they would use in battles. I mean, most of their battles and stuff was on foot. They weren't really doing sieges in that way, you know?
Dude, I mean, you send someone to Italy for like 2 weeks and suddenly they're an expert.
My Roman Empire is the Roman Empire, okay?
Well, wonderful. I'm glad you're doing well in Italy. It sounds like you're having a fun time.
Yeah.
Certainly to make me jealous. You're walking around, you're eating your pastries. Sounds like a great time. So
Yep.
Excited for you, and I'm excited. Just if I keep banging on the studio door, someone will let me out. That's kind of my goal. That's my next step up in the world.
Yeah, you can dream.
All right. Well, so today the podcast we're talking about is a podcast called Mallwalkin. Well, it's actually not called Mallwalkin.
Yeah, very unconfusingly.
This is true. It's Mallwalkin by Pistol Shrimps Radio. Now, what does that mean? Why is it called that? Okay. So there's several layers that we need to go through here. So I got into Mallwalkin because of another podcast that I reviewed and really liked, which is Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. And in that show, the producer for the show is a guy named Matt Gorley. Now, Matt Gorley has made a bunch of podcasts, including Pistol Shrimps Radio. Now, Pistol Shrimps Radio started out as him and his buddy Mark commentating over a women rec league basketball team, the Pistol Shrimps, that both of their girlfriends were on at the time. Or maybe just Matt's girlfriend. Unclear. I forget, by the way. That's what unclear means. It means I don't remember at this moment. And then Pistol Shrimps Radio evolved into other things. Like eventually they just like opened mail and that was it. And eventually it morphed into Mallwalkin, in which Mark McConville and Matt Gorley go to malls in the local Los Angeles area and walk them together. They participate in a newfound American pastime of mall walking.
Yeah.
You know, malls are temperature controlled. If it's too hot outside, if it's too cold outside, just go to a mall, and
Just
they're
go to a
big.
mall.
But they're also all dying. So they go around and they walk through the malls. It's a fitness podcast. It's a mall review podcast. There's a lot going on here. I feel like I had to get all that out really fast because it's kind of confusing what's going on.
If you go to look for Mallwalkin, which important, no G, just apostrophe.
Mallwalkin, yeah.
Mallwalkin. And also, if you go to look for them, you won't find it as a podcast. It's just part of another podcast feed.
That is absolutely true. So the most recent episode of Mallwalkin by Pistol Shrimps Radio is the 10th anniversary of Pistol Shrimps Radio, in which they go back to the Women's Basketball Rec League.
Yeah.
And they commentate on another game.
Yeah, if you look up Mallwalkin, you'll find instead a different podcast where Mallwalkin is not the oldest episode or the newest episode, but it's just kind of in there.
It's just kind of in there. Well, they also did it for, let's see, several years.
Mm.
Yeah, so I think the first Mallwalkin came out in 2023, I think is the first Mallwalkin.
Mm.
And I think they have a total of 11, 12.
I think they have 12 episodes. This is entirely unrelated, but do you hear the toll?
I do hear the toll. I don't know why you would call it a toll, because that makes it sound much more ominous.
Well, that is why. That's why I would do it.
Sure,
I'm having the real Mallwalkin experience of this recording's gonna be what it is. So, just want the listeners to know you're really getting embedded in this.
Well, you've committed to it. You've committed to the Mallwalkin lifestyle, is that you're recording outside in a natural environment, as opposed to me, a coward who's in a enclosed area with sound.
Yeah, you decided to take the safe path, and I decided to take the path of glory.
I like that dichotomy.
Yeah.
So I got into this podcast because of Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, and also because someone I know was like, have you heard that the guy who does Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend makes this other podcast? And I was like, no. So I got into it, and it's a very, if it's not obvious by what we've said already, it's a very unique podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one else is doing this. I mean, specifically Mallwalkin, but very few other people are like recording podcasts in like a non-studio environment. I mean, I say non-studio, but like in a situation where you're outside and you're not just in like your room, like doing it across Skype or Riverside or Discord or whatever. It's very unique in that way. I say no one's doing that. There are some other people that are doing that. I have heard some podcasts that have been filmed in a tree, which is delightful.
Oh, that is delightful.
But so I got into it and I was like, this is really interesting. And I started listening to it. And then I was like, Honor, you should listen to this.
Yeah.
Now, Honor, what were your kind of first impressions, when you started listening to Mallwalkin?
When I started listening to Mallwalkin, in all honesty, I started, I'm in Italy, as we've established. So I've been busy traveling. I have class and stuff. I had finals this week. I submitted a final this morning, which is different than we're used to. But I've been busy. So I thought I'm going to listen to an episode or two. And that would be enough for me to sort of get the vibe. Because you'd kind of explained it as they're just kind of walking around malls. And I was like, okay, there's not that much to that. And I started listening. And first impression, I was like, these guys clearly have no idea what they're doing. And that's awesome. Not like they have no idea what they're doing. Like, honestly, it was better produced than I anticipated because it's just two guys walking around with some mics. But it sounds, like, pretty good. It sounds fairly professional. But just as they're talking, they're like, so we haven't, like, talked to each other about what the plan is. We don't really know. We're recording this intro in the car. And then they end up jumping to, so we're walking through this mall again because we lost the audio the first time. Or no, they have it, but it is one of the mics cut out.
Yes, is that the very first episode?
That's the very first episode. You never hear the first episode because it is lost. So they record the first episode again. And then I ended up listening to, in the past 2 days, 6 episodes.
Whoa, it grabbed you, huh?
Yeah,
I'm
because they're
surprised.
just, it very much, you go into it, they're like, we're just doing this thing, we don't have a plan, we're gonna see what happens, and that is truly all they do, is they see what
Yes,
happens.
yes, absolutely.
And that's so entertaining, somehow.
I think you've hit on something there that it feels very organic or authentic. You
Yes.
know, it doesn't feel unnatural. Like it's like I'm right there with these guys. You know what I mean? Like they haven't
Yeah.
planned it out or thought through this any more than I have right now. Like we're having the same thoughts at the same time. You know, when they're like, Mark, do we go clockwise or counterclockwise? I think we
Yes.
usually go counterclockwise. That's the normal way. I don't know. This feels like a clockwise mall to me, right?
Yeah. I love sort of the running gag they have of, like, they're developing a standardized way to review malls or to
Right.
go about this podcast, but they're making it up on the spot. So they're like, and of course, every time we're on an escalator, we sing a song. And then they do, but they're just like making these decisions on the
Right.
fly.
Right. Like that happens the first time, and they're like, well, they're just making up segments. They're making
Yeah.
up traditions.
They're treating it as seriously as if this is a standardized thing and there is a process, but there is no process.
Yes. And I think that's so fun, and also kind of like a really good glimpse into like how do you make something that is entertaining to people? Well, you just kind of pretend that it already is. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like you pretend
Yes.
like this is already something that people watch and like, and we already have it. You know, kind of the showmanship of it, where you're like,
Yes.
I've already made this into something that you want.
Fake it till you make it.
Yes, and it genuinely works very well. There's a lot of things that they do once and that come back again, and it feels like there
Mm-hmm.
are these traditions that are almost unintentional, right? So like you mentioned, every time they're on an escalator, they have to sing a little song. But there's also, like you also mentioned, the review system. What is it? It's like out of 5 stars, but instead of stars, it's stores.
It's stores. Half a store is a kiosk, and half a kiosk is a massage chair.
Yes,
Unless
absolutely.
you're reviewing massage chairs, in which case it's just a chair.
I like that. I forgot
Yeah.
that. Yeah, and so at the end of the episode, they have to go to a massage chair,
They start every episode at the directory and they end at massage chairs.
and that's where they review it. And it is awesome to listen to two grown men just kind of grunt as they're either
Yeah.
like pleasured by the massage or pained by it.
Yeah, they're like,
Go,
oh,
oh, that's bad, man.
my
Oh, that's really
spine.
bad. Yeah, they're like two and a half, two stores and a kiosk, right?
Yep.
Another, kind of consistent part of the show is the fear that they're gonna get in trouble, which is a
Yes.
pretty big part of this, right? So they've not asked anyone for permission, right? So they're just going into a mall, like
Yeah.
real active places of business, right? So like the first
Mm-hmm.
episode of Eagle Rock Plaza, then the Burn Bank Town Center, then the Glendale Galleria. Like these are real malls that you can go to,
Mm-hmm.
and they just go in and they're holding microphones and talking, right? And so naturally, you can imagine that people are giving them weird looks, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're also worried that like there will be like the mall cop, right? There'll be security officers, and
Yeah.
then they get like, they get real quiet, or else they'll be like, "We'll be back, listeners, and we're gonna put our microphones away,"
Yep.
which is always kind of a constant fear. I think they get in trouble.
Yeah, there's a whole thing where they get kicked out of Macy's multiple times.
Yes,
And
is it
it is,
Macy's? Yeah,
I don't remember which of them, because their names are so similar because it's Matt and Mark, and also their voices are pretty similar to me. One of them is very much like a rule breaker and living for the thrill of it, and the other one is Matt, and Mark is terrified that they're gonna get in trouble.
right. Yeah, which kind of I think maps onto you and me very well. I feel like I'm
Yes.
I'm a Mark and you're a Matt.
Yeah. To be fair, I think if we were doing specifically this thing, like I hate the idea of, like, they don't do it a lot, but every now and then they'll like go up to a person at the mall who
Yes.
seems
Yeah.
like vaguely interested and they'll be like, "Hey, what's your name? Like, what are you doing here?" I would be so afraid. That like social part of it where, like, if someone tells me I'm not allowed to record somewhere, I'm gonna run away immediately. I won't even stop recording, I'll probably just leave. That I hate.
Yeah.
But in every other situation, no, that we map onto that dynamic. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's right. Well, I think it might be more accurate that I'm Matt and you're Mark, because Matt, I think he's the one who really likes this idea,
Yeah.
which is kind of me. Like, I also really like this idea.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I got to make the good content. And I think you're definitely right when you say it's either Macy's or JCPenney's that they'll go into.
It's Macy's.
It's Macy's.
Macy's is the enemy.
Macy's is the enemy. So they go into Macy's, the big box store, right? That's usually towards the end.
Yes.
And they walk through Macy's. And then, someone will come up to them and be like, "Excuse me, sirs, you can't do that. You can't do that." And sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, so sorry." But other times they'll be like, "But like, can't we?"
Yeah.
I mean, it's not hurting anyone. And then they'll get kicked out. But there's other people that they walk up to who are very excited to talk to them, or at least mildly amused, right?
Yes.
They'll go to like an airsoft gun range or like a salon, or to talk to some woman who's like orchestrating the blood drive, and they're interested. They're like, "What are you guys doing?" They're like, "Oh, we're recording a podcast. What are you doing?" Then they're like, "Oh, here's my business, yada yada yada." And so they'll like talk for a while, which is kind of an interesting. It's almost like man on the street-esque. Like, you're getting the view of the common man, right? But of course, without any like editing, and it's just talking to people and people being nice. Except Macy's. Macy's?
Except Macy's.
They won't be nice to them.
Yeah. And there was a whole mall that they got kicked out of. But then that was a whole adventure where they got kicked out of that mall, but then they were allowed to email the like higher ups, and they were given express permission to come back like on a given date and record their podcast.
Yes.
And they also had a guest for that episode.
Right. So that is The Shops at Santa Anita.
Yes.
Sonam Obsessian, Part 1.
Yup.
So Sonam Obsessian, if any of you listen to Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, is one of the co-hosts of that show. And so she comes on, and she's very funny. So if you're a fan of Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, you'll probably want to listen to The Shops at Santa Anita Part 1 and Part 2, because Sonam Obsessian is on there. But it is pretty funny because the first episode, because they list the stats for each mall.
Yeah.
So it says like when, like what time they went there, distance walked. And for Santa Anita, it just says rating incomplete, security violations 1.
Yep.
Yeah, so they did get kicked out of one, and then they got invited back at a different time. But there's another, they got invited to the Citadel Outlets, which is like a really big outlet mall. Yeah. And so Mark and Matt are kind of talking there in this like very nice like lounge. It's like it feels like it's kind of above the mall in some way. It's like it's not the mall, so it's outdoors, but it's like they're in this kind of lounge area and they're talking. And they're like, "Man, I don't know how to feel about this because we are professional reviewers and we're here to be unbiased and we're kind of we're being given special treatment. I don't know if that should factor into our reviews." And they're talking about it, and one of them was like, actually, that's fine. They could bribe us. Yeah. Actually, I'm good with that. That's actually the best mall ever. Which is also great because they talked to the lady who invited them, who's like the PR manager for this mall outlet. And she was like, "And we're so glad to have micro influencers like you guys come in here and explore things." And they're like, "Yeah, thank you so much." And then Mark and Matt like start walking the mall, and they were like, "Did she call us micro influencers?"
Micro influencers?
What the hell? So they become more legitimized as time goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And they, so what are you giggling about?
One sec.
I don't know if this is going to get included, but I hope the listeners can hear this Italian woman laughing as Honor laughs, because it's delightful.
Yeah, it is. No, I think we should. This is the real Mallwalkin experience,
Yes.
I will describe what just happened for listeners. So, I'm sitting next to this, like, giant vent in the floor, and it turns on every 10 minutes or something, but this little old Italian woman just walked over it, and it was, like, the Marilyn Monroe, like, right? That's who, like, the
right.
skirt, and
That's
she
awesome.
thought it was so funny. It was honestly really sweet. And then she
Oh,
started walking over it more. It was really funny.
that's so sweet.
Yeah.
See,
See, this is
okay. So,
what you get when you go out in the real world.
well, this kind of brings me to like one of my big things about mall walking, and we can get back to talking about the podcast in a second. Is that I want to do it? Like, okay, I think honestly, podcasting in a real physical environment outside of a studio or an in-house setup is a really underexplored space, and I think there should be more of it. I think mall walking proves that it is possible that you can go to some place that's real world and like uncontrolled, and you can still get something very entertaining.
Yeah, I think I agree. Because also, it's not. Because there's definitely people going out and, like, doing the talking to random people on the street kind of TikToks or whatever. And I
Yeah,
don't really like those because it feels like, oh, we're gonna go out and like look for the weird, like interesting whatever thing. And it like there's so many ways it can be awkward because you're trying to like force these interactions to happen. But I really like, especially like as they keep going, they don't have the handheld mics anymore and they have just sort of inconspicuous like lapel mics. And so it really is just them walking around as friends chatting, and also then you get to listen to it. But that's like you have endless inspiration for things to talk about because you're in an environment where there's a million things. There's organic stuff happening, and it's just people being funny and organic.
well, absolutely, and that's what as much as we're big fans of podcasts, right? The
Mm.
studio podcast, right? Like just talking to someone across a table with a microphone in front of you, uh, like for an hour, 2 hours, or whatever, is
Yeah.
inherently unnatural. Like that's not how we have conversations, right? At least it's the microphone stuff. Yeah, is unnatural for everyone, but also like I'm not a guy who like if we're talking for a while, let's walk and talk. You know what I mean? Like I'm not a
Yes.
sit down around the table guy. Let's move. Let's do something.
You are absolutely that person.
Oh yeah, I'm too jittery. I can't. This is the whole time I'm listeners, you may not know this, but I have one of those exercise balls, and I'm just bouncing
Mm-hmm.
on it the whole time I'm recording. So if it sounds like I'm getting farther and closer away from the mic, that's why. But yeah, no, I think it's such an interesting like space. So Mallwalkin does it, but I also do want to mention there is what is it? It's hiking with Kevin. It's a show hosted by Kevin Nealon that's posted to YouTube. Kevin Nealon is a comedian. Now,
Mm-hmm.
you can say it's not really a podcast because he's recording the whole thing with a video. Like he's got a selfie stick on him the whole time. But it's just like two dudes talking. It's him walking through some trail in the Los Angeles region with some other celebrity. So like I think if you get rid of the video element, I would definitely call it a podcast.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you Google it though, it says TV series, and I don't know if I think that's strictly true, but you can watch it on Fox Nation. So maybe there's some other podcast I've heard. I forget the exact name of the podcast. But there's a podcast with two Kiwi podcasters. I forget. It's not the worst idea of all time, but it might be a different one by those guys. The worst idea of all time is a podcast by two New Zealander podcasters in which they watch Grown Ups, the movie, every day for a whole year or something like that.
What?
Yeah, it's an insane podcast we should talk about sometime. Anyway, so there's a podcast where these New Zealander comedians they like get in a tree and they podcast. I just want like more of that. I think it's a really interesting idea, and I would like to do it. Honor, can I pitch you? And you can cut this out of the episode if you think it's pure gold and you don't want to, I want to steal my idea. Can
Okay.
I pitch you this idea that I've had for like a long time, ever since first listening to Mallwalkin?
Yeah.
Okay, the pitch is trail walking or trail hiking, trail talk.
Mm.
And in trail talk, me and a buddy get mic'd up and we just go on a beautiful walk through nature and we just discuss our lives and the beautiful nature around us. It's one, there will be some comedy in there, get some funny people together to make funny things, but also you do get wonderful sounds of nature, the birds chirping, the bees buzzing. You
Yeah.
can hear the sunlight going through the trees and the wind and stuff. I feel like that would be I would love to make that because I mean, I like podcasting because I get to talk. Yay. But the only
Yay.
thing I love more than me talking is me talking as I frolic through the natural world, you know? That'd be so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Now the only thing I'm noticing is that you said me and a buddy and not me and my buddy Honor.
Well, Honor, I think I would love to have you on, but I'm a little frightened that if I had you out in nature every episode,
Uh-huh.
Honor, I'm a little frightened that you would be burned to death. I don't think you're a vampire, but I do think something.
Now, unfortunately, that's fair. Unfortunately, that's fair. And I can't even fault you for that, because I probably would. I'd probably burn to death.
You're like, I could just imagine you, how Minecraft mobs when the sun comes up.
Yep.
You know,
And that's what would happen.
I don't really care who it's with, but I would love to. I want to merge hiking with Kevin and Mallwalkin into the ultimate trail podcast experience.
Yeah.
And I think that would be so lovely. I recently did some recording outside for Weird Mage. In case you don't know, Podpodcastcast is a production of Weird Mage. And so I was recently doing some recording outside, and I was doing all my audio checks and stuff. I'm like, man, there's so many wonderful sounds of birds and nature and
Yeah.
insects and the flowers and grass rustling. I just think it's a beautiful environment, and I don't know, it gets me excited. And I want to do that sometime.
Yeah. I love that. I love that for you. And I love it for the world that it will be released upon.
I like the way I love it for the unsuspecting world.
Yeah.
Who won't be ready before it's demolished before the sounds of awesome podcast.
I love it for your witless victims.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're so welcome. I'm wishing you many witless victims.
Well, also speaking of witless victims, right, is this podcast, because it's in a natural environment, I say natural, because it's in the real world, right,
Yeah.
not in the studio, there are some, audio quality problems, right? Like, it does pick up people in the background, right? You'll hear people talking as Matt and Mark go by them, just like how, I don't know if it's going to make it in the final cut, but there was a laughing Italian woman in this episode of Podpodcast.
Yeah.
So you'll if you're just in the real world, you'll pick up those things, right? And so there's audio problems there. There's problems with physical equipment, like going out, stuff like that. I mean, I was talking about how I was recording outside, and while I was doing that, my audio picked up a radio signal. So my audio equipment picked up a radio signal that was coming from some broadcast, I don't know from how far away.
Yeah.
And it ended up in my final audio track. If you want to know more, there's a YouTube short about it on the Weird Mage YouTube. Just look up Weird Mage YouTube, you'll find it. Anyway.
It's truly so wild.
Yeah, so there's a lot of problems with recording outside. That's why podcast studios exist, right? If it was beautiful sounding audio every time, we would all just be sitting on tree stumps and stuff. So it's just kind of something to consider. You know what I mean? Like, for me, the audio quality problems in Mallwalkin don't outweigh how much I enjoy that authenticity and organicness that you mentioned, Honor. But
I completely agree.
if the littlest thing bothers you like that, and you know that, it's probably not going to be it for you, Chief.
Yeah.
Honor, do you have any other thoughts on Mallwalkin, the podcast?
It's just kind of, there's not anything crazy going on. They're just hanging out. But it's good. I thought it was really fun to listen to.
Yeah.
I had it on while I was playing video games. I had it on while I was doing homework. It's just a fun time.
Yes, I think that's it. I think that's a really nice summation on it. I was kind of searching for words to describe Mallwalkin when I was thinking of doing this review, and I was kind of struggling at first. And I think you came out and hit it right on the head with the first thing you said, just that it just really feels organic and authentic. Like, Matt and Mark, I think, are funny, right?
Yes.
So that works to their advantage in general. But
they are
also
funny.
Yeah.
Objective fact.
Objective fact. We called it in. We got it back from the funny
from New York.
We called up the guys in Las Vegas, and they said, "Yeah, $300 on. They're funny."
Yeah.
But I think that feeling of authenticity and organicness is kind of the biggest thing that this show has to offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of times it is. You're just getting a glimpse into Mark and Matt's life. Like, they have to go to places to like why did they go to this mall today? Well, they have to return a pair of jeans to Old Navy.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to go, I need to go buy this new audio equipment. Or we're here because my, great Aunt Rosie gets her haircut here every week. So we have to, drop off great Aunt Rosie.
Yeah, I think it really hits, like, because there's so many podcasts that are, like, just sort of two guys talking, and they can be really hit or miss, because sometimes it's like, you guys don't have anything to talk about, so why are you recording it? And other times it's like, you guys have really great chemistry, and the fact that you guys started this podcast based on, like, having great chemistry and not some topic that you're just gonna ramble about really makes it work. But I think it is that authenticity, and like these are professional entertainers, both of them, question mark.
They're podcasters at least.
Yeah, they're around the industry. I don't think they're comedians, but like, you know.
I would really like that. That's a great review of any podcast. I don't think they're comedians.
I don't think that's what they do for their day job.
No, you're right.
Yeah, but they know their way around being like, okay, so what's the funny thing here? How can we make a funny callback that has the most punch? And they're just really entertaining to talk to. There's enough of a, like, premise, like they're in a place, that's the premise, that they have some sort of direction, but also they are just, it really feels like just listening to two pals talk. I think it seems like they edit out very little. They don't, like, censor themselves a bunch. So it really is just them talking about whatever they'd actually want to talk about. And when you hear people talk about the things they like talking about, it's way more enjoyable than, like, whatever the arbitrary thing is that they're like, this is what we talk about on this podcast.
I definitely agree. Like, it's not... and I think you're right that they're both good at being entertainers, right? Yeah. It's not just like a dudes talking podcast, you know, in that classic... In the common imagination right now, like, dude, we have fun when we talk to each other. We should make a podcast. I mean, that's a little bit what this is, but obviously these guys have had lots of experience. I mean, they've been making Pistol Shrimps Radio and other stuff for 10 years now. So they know how to make it entertaining, but also it doesn't feel constrained. It feels very natural, which is, like, fun to get, like, feels like you're let in on a little bit.
Yes, exactly.
But I also do think that they do have a bit of a topic, right, with this mall walking angle, in that, you know, one of the things that they're frequently talking about is the decline of the American mall, right? And how, you know, like, they're walking through these malls and there's a lot of closed shops, right?
Yes.
And so they're like, yeah, I remember when we used to have a Jamba Juice, no more, right? And so they're kind of comparing malls, like, okay, which ones are the most dilapidated? Kind of like sometimes some reflections on, like, why that is. Like, that's not to say that it's like a deep investigative journalism podcast or anything like that. But that is, like, they do have something to, like, they have a few things to return to, right? They can be like, you know, like, oh man, this mall does not have any anchor stores and it's dimly lit. It's bad vibes, man. This is not going to last a long time, right?
Yeah, it feels like very real, where if they're thinking about that sort of thing, they're gonna say it. It's not...
Right.
That to me is... It adds even more to the authenticity, because it feels like you're hearing their actual conversations about, like, ooh, all these shops are closed. There's nothing open from when I used to come here as a wee child or whatever.
Yeah, so I just think that, I think you're right that it's very organic and they don't feel like they have a topic that they're constrained to. This isn't like Johnny and the Fish's plumbing hour. We talk everything plumbing and politics. You know, like, it doesn't feel like weirdly constrained or hamstrung by that idea, but it does feel like they do have a few things to return to, right? Like, they return to this idea, like, what is this mall like? You know, how does this compare to other malls? And they also have, you know, I think they let go of it a little later, but in the beginning they definitely talk about, this is a fitness podcast. How far, Mark, how far have we walked? It's like, oh, that's a 1.3. All right, we got to keep going. I need at least 2 more laps.
Yeah.
And because they're entertainers, they can fall back on those things, and it never feels like they're really out of something. But they're also not afraid to, like, leave a little silence in, you know what I mean? While they just walk, which is also good. Like, I think you're definitely right. It's just, they do a very good job of being organic and authentic, and just, it's like, okay, this is the experience, and if you like it, you do, and if you don't, you don't, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's really fun to get let in on, and I think both of the guys are funny. So if you kind of jive with their personality, I think you'll like this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Anna, are you ready for a rating?
Yeah. Are we going to rate it with their rating system?
I think we have to. I think we simply must.
This is
kind of hard because know that I like this podcast, but I don't know how this podcast stacks up against other things. Do you want to go
Yeah,
first?
that's what I'm thinking. Because it's like, it's well produced, all things considered. Like, you're walking around a mall and this is what your podcast sounds like. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
It's entertaining. I actually was like, hey, I want to listen to this. Because I was not going to listen to 6 episodes, but I did. I was surprised with how much I liked it. Even though I'm like, how does it stack up against, like, my favorite podcast?
I'm also surprised how much you liked it because it's not your usual cup of tea, right? It's not.
No, I normally like an audio drama. Yeah.
Yeah, some Dungeons and Dragons. So I'm
Yes.
glad. I feel pleased.
Yeah, no, this one was really good. I think I might give it 4 stars, which I'm a little
Four
disappointed in
stars.
just because I wanted some amount of kiosks and massage chairs in there. But I
Yeah.
think 4 stars is my honest opinion. I think it's good. I think I would recommend this podcast genuinely to most people. It's also not like super long. There's only 12 episodes of it. Each episode is less than 2 hours, sometimes like 1 hour.
Yeah.
So it's nothing crazy.
It's also very relaxed, right? It's not. It's
Yeah,
like a 2 hours or an hour.
it's such a vibe, you know?
Yeah, some people are fine to listening to 4 hours of Critical Role or
Uh-huh.
Joe Rogan, and that feels so overwhelming to me.
Yeah, this is a completely side thing, but did you know that the next season of Critical Role, they're gonna have like 12 players, and
What?
it's being DM'd by Brennan Lee Mulligan, and they're gonna do this style where you have sort of a rotating cast, where all of these people, like, their stories interact with one another, but they aren't necessarily directly interacting. It seems so insane, and I'm really intrigued to see how it goes, but, like, I didn't think Critical Role could get more insane than it is as an entity, and it has.
Honor, I like. Should we institute a segment on the podcast where it's just Honor checks in about Critical Role? Like, should
Maybe.
that be a segment we
Because
have?
I'm for sure, I fell off listening to the last campaign, but I'm definitely going to listen to this one because I'm fascinated.
Yeah, well, maybe that's. I guess that's why they did it. I also like. It's.
Yeah.
I'm just really amused. Like, even when it's not an episode about Critical, you're like, you heard about Dungeons and Dragons?
You're a Dungeon Dragon.
You know about it? I had heard some of that. I did not know that there were 12 people. 12 people on any podcast is
Yeah.
just stop.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 12 cast members. It's 12 players with Brennan Lee Mulligan DMing, and there's gonna be 3 different casts of 4, which is much more manageable. But
Sure.
you're having sort of these rotating casts in different storylines, but they're all interacting with the same overarching story.
Okay, so while we're messing with the podcast format with Mallwalkin, like, what's the maximum amount of people we can put on a podcast at once? You know what I mean?
Like all in a room talking. I mean, Critical Role's done like 10.
I think 10 might be kind of the upper limit for having a conversation. Because you ever, like, go to a party and it's just like, it's one conversation, but there's lots of people in a circle, and it's just like,
Yes.
dude, we can't all contribute. This is like, I think 10 is really pushing at the social constraints.
No, yeah. That's also sort of the size at which, like, especially if you're sitting around a big dinner table with about 10 or more people, then it gets to the point where people start having, like, there's multiple conversations going at once, and people are talking sort of across the table in lines over each other, and it becomes a whole mess.
Yeah, I feel like 10 is like, 10's like, that's like a small Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's the maximum you can have in one conversation.
No,
Although I do
absolutely.
wonder if we did, like, I wonder if you, okay, I feel like you could do a podcast with like 100 people if you did like a crowd version, right? Where it's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, you, like, everybody's mic'd up, but
Uh-huh.
you have
Or
to be quiet while it's this dude's turn, you know?
yeah, or I guess I'm thinking of the Blood on the Clock Tower podcast that I've listened to, because I have seen it done, or especially if you do edited Blood on the Clock Tower, you can do, because it's like there's the whole town square talks, but also people go off and have side conversations, and so those are manageable, normal conversations with like 2 to 4 people. And you can cut those up all together so you hear all of them, and then you go back to town square, and people only cut in if they have something super relevant. So maybe you could get 20 people if you do that format. But then is that the same format?
No, I don't. There's so much. Yeah, well, we've got to break this. We got to break podcasting somehow. Okay, we need
Yeah.
our contribution to just,
Yeah,
destroying this beautiful format that we love. And and remaking it in a better way.
Yes. Break a bone till it like heals up stronger, kind of thing,
Yeah, yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah. You know how people get those like leg extenders?
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's do
I
that to
saw that.
podcasting.
Saw that in a movie recently. Okay, my rating for Mallwalkin, I think, is going to be a 3 stores, 1 kiosk, and a massage chair.
That's what I
And I think
expected, and I think that's a good rating. I almost did that myself, but I just really enjoyed it.
that rating for me is 2.75 for like the actual quality of the podcast. Like it's an above average podcast.
Yeah.
And just for me, because it's I like to listen to a comedy podcast. This is funny, but it's like not a laugh a minute. It's not like educational per se. So it's not like some of the other like NPR podcasts I listen to. It's not like an audio drama that has like a story. But I think it's a whole extra store for me because of the uniqueness factor. And I really,
Yes.
really like it. I'm like, there's nothing else like this. And I can't go anywhere else to like hear them like go up to this ice cream guy and be like, "What the flavors of ice cream do you?" I don't know why
Yeah.
they said Italian accent, but
Well, because I'm in Italy. I did. That was one thing that was really interesting, is because Spotify has the thing where instead of you have to record the advertisement with your podcast, you just kind of leave a break and it'll go to ads.
yeah.
All of mine are in Italian now.
Oh, that's so exciting!
Yeah.
Now you're learning about the make spaghetti. Eat the spaghetti from
Yeah,
a
for sure.
McDonald's. I assume that's how they do it.
Uh-huh.
Do you think? I hope we don't have any Italian listeners. I think we might have one. It's all U.S. and Canadian. I look at our demo. Canadians, I've said it before, love ya.
Yeah.
Canadians and Germans, that's our demo. I just hope we're not offending the Italians. Maybe that's why they don't listen to us, is because I do such a good impression.
I think you should stop saying we're offending the Italians, because it's for sure you, buddy.
I'm so glad that we can agree on this honor and that we are a united front against Italy. And I think, we got to say it's all about solidarity, and I'll stand with you, even though, just, controversial take after controversial take coming out of this Italophobe.
All right, let's end this podcast.
Yeah, anyway, I think because it's so unique, it really makes me love this podcast.
Yeah.
Mark Matt's personality really shine through. I've listened to some Pistol Shrimps Radio.
Ooh.
Where they comment on the basketball. I care about it a little less. It's similar in concept, right? It's in a real environment. You're hearing the basketball go.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It's
I wonder
okay.
if I'd like it because I like sports.
Maybe, but it's kind of sports I don't care about a whole lot. And also, at least in the episodes I listen to, the sports are being played poorly. It's just
That's
you're
tragic.
listening to the Pistol Shrimps lose a lot. So But Mallwalkin I really enjoy. So
Yeah.
Cool
Stuff.
That's Mallwalkin. If you think you might like something that's really unique and not like a lot of podcasts out there, just go give it a listen. Try a couple episodes. If you're a fan of Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend and you're like, man, I like Matt Gorley, the producer, then great. Go listen to that with the episodes with Sona Mostesting. I think you'll probably, Matt and Sona have a funny personality in that show, or a funny
dynamic.
Yeah, thank you. Dynamic in that show. And I think they have a funny dynamic in this show as well, as do Mark and Matt. So it's a good pod. I think we can say that officially and for realsies.
Yeah. Also, if you have any other pods that are kind of like this, like real world, tell us at podpodcastcastpod@gmail.com. Let us know. I want to hear more.
We absolutely would love to hear more like this. You can send us your emails at podpodcastcastpod@gmail.com. About anything as well, we'll read it off on the pod. Also, I know you're listening to this podcast somewhere. I know it for a fact. And you know what you're legally obligated to do if you do that?
Leave us 5 stars.
Leave us a 5-star review. 5-star review. If they don't have 5 stars, put the stars in and then write 5 stars underneath. We'll also do that on the podcast if you leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever they let you write a review. If you're on Spotify, they don't let you write a review. So just, I guess, put it in a comment, say, this is good, hug, and I'll know it. It'll make me feel better. Also, follow us. Follow us so you know the next time an episode comes out. We release episodes bi-weekly. So follow us so you know the moment that this comes out. And thank you for listening. Honor.
Thank you for listening.
Potting with me.
Thank you for potting with me, Sam.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy day of eating croissants.
Yes, and you for taking time out of your morning. It's really weird that I'm in sort of mid-evening and you're coming up on lunchtime.
Yeah, I got out of bed so early, 9 o'clock. I went, ooh, I have to go record podcast.
Yeah.
Did Honor, just to circle back in on kind of the through line for this episode, Honor, did you finish your croissants while we were talking?
No, I'm excited to eat them after. You hear them crinkle?
It's a lot of crinkle. Oh no, great. All right, awesome, sweet. Thanks for potting with me, Honor. Enjoy your croissants, listener. Go get
Yes.
yourself a croissant and enjoy
Get yourself a croissant.
All right, until next time. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, arrivederci. Ah.
Arrivederci.